Hey guys, Trav here. Hope you're doing amazing and welcome to this all-in library module. This one's kind of a different one from the mix. Now, you guys who have seen these all-in library modules, welcome to another one. I'm joined by a very brilliant today who we're going to get to in just a second. But like I said, this one's going to be a little bit away from the different mix. A lot of these are on laser-focused, targeted strategies on how to get more traffic to your business, how to blog in the correct way, how to take your business to a new level by what's in the products and using what we can where we can. But there's kind of like a hidden mastery to handling your business, and it has to do entirely with your mindset. You see, hidden stripes or secrets or whatever comes up at certain times, and you have to get over it, right? You have to figure out ways to, in essence, kind of deal with the everyday tribulations of running a business or running a life. We all have relationship, issues at times, or we all have bill issues or things that come up that just require more out of us, right? We sit there and we're like, okay, how do I go from zero to hero because I have blog posts to make, or I have a business to run, or I have a team to take care of, or I have things to do, and how the hell could this thing be happening to me right now, right? It just comes out of nowhere like a meteor. Well, there's certain ways to training your mind and train your patterns and your processes to deal with things like that, to have just the strategies in terms of your own personal development, your growth, and your mindset mastery to be able to go, okay, I know this is hitting me right now, but this is how I deal with it. And this is how I'm going to deal with it in a way that's going to get me into a better situation successfully and financially and for everybody involved. And there's no better person than who's on with us today than Mr. Kevin Susitaki. This guy, I've known him for almost, I would say, what's it, almost like 2 years now, almost a year and a half. And he has been through it. And he's done something that you see in only the biggest successful leaders and mind masters of the world. We're talking about the Tony Robbins and Tracy Walkers and whoever you name, the Bill Gates, and the people who have gone through the craziest things in their life and have the craziest stories. And you're just like, how did this person accomplish these things? Well, they've done something that's kind of outside of the regular grind of the training that you get. It's a mindset mastery. It's a positivity that you can tap into at any second. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Sousa because he has a process that he's going to share with you, and hopefully it benefits you in a way that allows you to take what's in front of you and make a masterpiece with it. Mr. Kevin Sousa.
Well, thank you very much, Travis. Those are kind words, and to equate that with some of the masters of mindset is humbling, actually. I appreciate that. Every day we're faced with challenges, problems, issues, and how we handle those challenges, problems, and issues has a major impact on our day, on a day-to-day basis. Now, obviously, we've had challenges, everyone, in our lifetime, but the challenges that are ongoing that you have and face every day is something that needs to be addressed and handled in a fashion that's going to help you to be the most productive and the most happy throughout your day, no matter what's happening in your life. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen to somebody? Well, somebody you love dearly could pass away. That could be a really extreme example, right, of something that happens that will affect you emotionally and physically. Also, what else could happen to you during the day? Well, if you're building a business, let's say somebody that you've worked with, you've developed a relationship with, decides to quit and cancel and just stop, and all that effort that you put in helping that person, all of a sudden they're no longer going to be able to benefit from, or they no longer want to. That's another issue, another challenge. Or let's say that you're driving traffic, tons of traffic to your websites, and you're not getting the results you would like to see. There's another issue of how do you deal with that? How do you respond to that? And, how we respond in life and how we react to situations in life has a lot to do with the ultimate outcome. If we add to that negativity by responding in a negative fashion, which unfortunately the mindset of this world naturally responds negatively because of the world itself. The world loves news, and news is 100% negative. I mean, I stopped watching news years and years ago because of that. But when things happen to us, our initial reaction tends to be the negative part. And we're on autopilot, okay? I mean, it's kind of, if you can understand this, it's kind of the foundation of personal development. The auto response is almost focused, like I'm using blinders here, where if something bad happens or something negative happens, our natural tendency is to respond negatively to it. And if you're steering a ship on the ocean, and the ship's on autopilot, say traveling east in the Atlantic Ocean toward Europe, from the US to Europe. Now, if the captain of the ship has it on autopilot for east, if the captain turns the wheel west and does not change autopilot, in other words, just turn it around. I'm being ridiculously, I'm exaggerating to make a point, and does not change the autopilot, then the ship will automatically go back to the east again. Autopilot are our conscious thoughts, our conscious choices. And we want to make our autopilot decide to stay east versus when we turn it to the west, and without changing our conscious awareness of our reactions, we'll go back here again. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about here. In order to help our autopilot, we want to expose ourselves to things that we can dilute our negative reactions with. I didn't say, Travis, to get rid of negativity. You can't. Unfortunately, boys and girls, men and women, and friends and associates, you can't get rid of the negatives in your head. They're there. But you can dilute them. If you take a glass of water and a glass of pink ink, right? Red ink, and you pour that red ink in that water, it's going to turn pink, right? And it's going to turn more pink. But what happens is if you take that water, which is positive, and you pour it into the ink will get pink instead of red, but it'll always be a slight tint of pink. And that's the same thing with positivity and negativity. You will dilute negatives with the positive that you feed your mind with, and you'll learn and become more aware and more consciously aware of that autopilot so that you can control your reaction to something negative, like, oh, they quit? Well, of course, I'd like to find out why they quit, but I won't say, oh, they quit, here we go again. Okay, like the typical reaction that everybody will have. Oh, here we go, and instead, if you respond differently by consciously understanding that, hey, I just listened to an audio today. Well, did you? We recommend that you do every day for a reason. And even if you don't understand that reason, it's important that you keep feeding your mind with positive thoughts, because then you will be able to set yourself up to handling the solutions by the reactions or responses that you're giving to those problems in life. So I guess that's kind of my first part of this topic, Travis, to mindset, is to be able to control that which is going into our minds so that we can control that which is coming out of us.
No, I love that. Truthfully, it is. It's human nature, right? You said it yourself. It's our natural tendencies. It's human nature that dictates, as we're young, something bad happens, we get upset, or, even as we get older, we develop those patterns. Something bad happens to us, or somebody yells at us. The first thing is like, you're going to yell at me. You want to yell back. You're like, you're really going to yell, right? And I've found I listen to an audio daily. I try to read one book a day, and every day I try to train my mind to get out of that autopilot, because you're right. You will always experience negative thoughts. It doesn't matter. Even Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, everybody, they're like, when bad things happen, my first initial reaction, I have to shut down, because like I want to get upset at things, but I know getting upset will get me nowhere, which is why I've decided to act differently. And you see them come out with these really cool quotes, like, I skate to where the puck is going, not where the puck has been, because Steve Jobs knows that going right back in with that, how could this be happening? The company shut down, forget this, freaking out, and that only gets him so far, so he decides to take a different route. So I love what you're saying. If you can change that autopilot, you can literally change how and the outcome you deal with your situations. What would you say would be your process for kind of changing that autopilot?
Well, the first thing I do when I get up in the morning is I don't recite an affirmation, I recite what's called an affirmation. Okay, it's just a slight difference between the two. Without getting into a seminar about what affirmations are versus affirmations, it's quite simply this. Why is it so easy to sponsor 2 people into my business today? That's an affirmation.
Yeah.
You're asking yourself a question. And I do that the moment I get up in the morning. In fact, on my whiteboard behind me is that question. So why was it so easy to sponsor 2 people today? And I look at that first thing, the moment I wake up. Why? Why do I do that first? Because I want to set my mindset for the day. As human beings, including myself, we will always respond negatively to something that day. Always. Because that dilution means dilution, not removal. And by setting your mind up first thing in the morning with that positive affirmation, asking you a question, why is it so easy to sponsor 2 people today? Then you have begun the process. I instantly, after that, turn on an audio and listen to something positive. Immediately feeding my mind with something good and positive. So that's how I kind of start the process. Reading, you've heard reading is fundamental, right? The books you read, and not necessarily listen to an audio book, which is still a good thing to do, but there's something even more powerful about reading it through your eyes and letting your mind read a book versus listening to an audio book. If you're listening to audiobooks, great, that's the least you can do.
Right.
But I recommend you pick up a book and read it. When do you read? People say, well, I don't have time to read. Yes, you do. We all sit down at least once every day or two in a certain place every single day or two. We all do. And I'm talking about in the bathroom, okay? I'm being blunt here. Okay? We all sit down at least once a day or once every couple of days. Boy, I'll tell you what, that's an awesome time to read. It just really is. And so that there's no excuse for I don't have time to read. No, you just don't want to set the time to read. Let's change what you're saying, okay? And I always try to take the words I'm saying and make them positive, because what you say is what you get. There's a good book out there, I can't remember who wrote it. It's called Hung by the Tongue, okay? And there's a recommended book. What you say is what you get. Think about that, folks. That's not hokey. What you say is what you get. You attract into your life that which you are saying. And so work on consciously all day long is what I do, is I consciously work on how I'm going to word something when I'm talking with somebody or when I'm actually talking with myself, because I work my business full-time from home during the day, and I don't have anybody here to talk to. I talk to myself. Okay? And self-talk is a very important component when you're walking through your day and on what you want to do to keep your mind in a positive state. Then I'll also turn on a video, because now not only have I read, not only have I stated my affirmations, but I also like to watch a video for obvious reasons, especially a positive one, whether it's a training video from one of the many products that we have in Empower, or whether it's a Hangout recording that I might have missed part of or what have you. Always watch a little bit of a video, every single day. Besides listening to an audio, audios are easy. You can take the MP3s from the Inner Circle and you can put them on a CD and you can listen to them back and forth on your car, back and forth to work. Also, you can do it on your phone, okay? So you can listen to the audios on your phone as well. And if you still have a job and you're driving back and forth to work, there's your audio time, okay? So I try to mix in my personal development study time in my day-to-day activities so that I don't use the excuse that I used to use 30 years ago. I don't have time.
Right.
Well, you're driving your car back and forth. Yeah, but I listen to my radio. Aha! Replace that activity. If you're not where you want to be in your business, then clearly the activities that you're doing, they probably will get you there, but you might as well use the downtime you have in the most productive fashion. And that's what I did over the years. I mean, I started listening to cassette tapes when the cassettes were out. You can still listen to cassettes nowadays, but 37 years ago, when I was 19 years old, in the very first network marketing company that I got happily involved with, and that's where it was instilled in my head, in my mind, to listen to an audio every single day of your life. And I don't think, maybe I've missed a few days in the last 37 years. I would say I probably missed maybe a year's time in the last 37 years. Now, relatively speaking, that's not much time. Listening to a tape, we called them back then, every single day. And so reading books, watching videos, listening to an audio book, and listening to the Inner Circle audios, when you combine all of those activities, that's how you feed your mind on a daily basis, and that's what I do.
That's brilliant, man. You know, I like what you said about, you know, Hung by the Tongue was the book you referenced. You know, changing your verbiage, your self verbiage, and becoming aware of what you guys talk about, the way that you say things, even when you're interacting with, could be a loved one, could be a friend, could be a colleague, could be a lead, could be somebody in your team, somebody in your downline. It could be anybody on the phone. It could be even the people who like give you a telemarketing call. Okay? When you're talking to somebody, okay, and they're like, "Hey, man, why don't you go read that book you were talking about?" Pay attention to the feelings and the sounds that come out of your mouth, because when you're like, I don't have time for that, take everybody else out of the world for a second. What you really just said is that you don't have time for your personal growth. You don't have time to give yourself the gift of reading this thing that's going to help you get to the next level. That's what Kevin's talking about. Watch your patterns. You know, watch what you do and start your day off the right way. You know, he starts off with a very powerful affirmation, right? He listens to an audio and he watches a video. 3 things to reinforce everything that he's about to set himself up for the day. And I'll tell you that that's pretty much a pattern in some of the biggest names in the industry. I'll touch them right again. You're talking about the Brian Tracy's. You're talking about Aaron Rashkin. You're talking about everybody. You're talking about Tracy Walker. All these, I listen to them daily. You know, Elliot Thomas. I mean, there's so many people that follow Les Brown, that follow this pattern. They start their day off filling their mind with things that are going to carry them through, right? So like he said, he's missed like maybe a year in the last 37 years. Okay. I mean, you're talking like 365 days compared to like 900,000 days. I mean, like you're talking
times
about
37, right?
So I mean, you're talking about like almost 1 million days if I'm doing my math right.
No, 13,500 days is 37 years.
Well, okay, my math was really wrong.
Well, 1 million, that's okay.
Out of 13,000 days, though, only like 300 is not a big, you know what I mean? That's like, and you're talking about daily patterns. And this is something that's been found by industry professionals. Darren Hardy, the CEO of Success Magazine, when he was interviewing all of the most successful individuals in the world, found that they have, you know, he started with like their sleep patterns and what they do for the day, but he found the common denominator was that they filled their mind with things that made them feel good, that were positive, that reinforced where they're going, their growth. So, I mean, what Kevin's telling you is brilliant. Kevin, what would you, can you break that down into a process for us? Like how, when you start your day, like what is the type of things that you write? And then when you listen to the audio, what are the types of audios that you listen to, and how long do you listen to those for? Everybody has their patterns. You know, some people are like, I go to bed every night at 10 p.m. and I wake up at 6 a.m. and from 6 to 6:15 I have breakfast. You know, like everybody has their patterns, and some people are like, shit, I work until 3 in the morning and I'll just wake up when I wake up. But no matter when you wake up or what you do, you know, this isn't a sleep training, guys, but when you wake up, no matter what you do, there are some vital actions you can take right away, which is what Kevin's talking about. So can you process that for us?
So in other words, give you a typical day?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when I get up, the first thing I do when I put my feet on the floor is I say my affirmation, just like I said earlier. That's the first thing I do. Okay.
And do it right then and there?
I do it right then and there, the moment I wake up. No, instantly. The very first thought that comes out of my mouth is my affirmation. And every morning I do that. And then, and usually, okay, I put my feet on the floor and I'll walk to the bathroom and I'll do it there because my wife either is still sleeping or my daughter's still sleeping or whatever. So I won't just sit there and do it and wake her up. I'll get up and I'll go to the other room and I'll say my affirmation to myself in the mirror. Okay? It's important to talk to yourself in the mirror and look at yourself right in the eyes in the mirror when you're saying your affirmation. When I'm done with that and I've had breakfast and I've seen my wife out and my daughter, um, she goes to stay with her father during the day and or goes to her special schooling. She has autism. What I do, of course, is I turn on my computer after I've gotten all my morning stuff done, shower, breakfast, etc. While I'm eating breakfast, I will listen to an Inner Circle audio. Now, that audio will stay on, and usually the audios they vary in time. They can run from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on what audio you're listening to. And I will listen to the whole thing. Now, will I sit there and go, let me listen to this? I used to. Now I don't. I let my subconscious listen to it while I'm multitasking. Okay? Now, some people might say, well, I can't do that. Guess what? Neither could I at first. But you can, and here's how you control being able to do it. Turn the volume a little lower. Okay? Not off, just a little lower. Trust me, your subconscious mind is aware of that. but it is my responsibility to let them know the same thing, because when you're helping others that are not on your line of sponsorship, you're working in someone else's team. There's an integrity issue there, okay? The only way that you can help everybody is by doing a video, not necessarily personally counseling with somebody that's not on your team. If you want to help the world, for crying out loud, you ought to be doing a video every single day of your life, and you'll help the world.
You shoot a video every day.
Every day.
All right.
A video a day.
Just listen to this for a second.
Go ahead.
Kevin's. No, I mean, I just want to reiterate to everybody who's watching this what you said from the beginning of Kevin's day. Okay, he's talking about his normal day. He hasn't done like things that can't be done every day. He's not talking about running like a 5K or like saving people from like a speeding bus. You know, he may do that. He probably does that. But I mean, like, he's not talking about going and signing that once in a lifetime contract deal or getting that one amazing affiliate and finding and searching and slaving over autoresponders. In just the beginning of his day until lunchtime, he's listened to anywhere from 3 to 4 audios. Okay, he's had lunch, had breakfast. He got up, he said his affirmation, right? He's watched videos. He connected with 2 people on Facebook and asked them a very specific question. And if you didn't hear that, go back and listen to it. Okay, and we're now at lunchtime, right? And he's now on Facebook and he's now shooting a video, a very quick video, but a powerful video that he's going to release. And it's lunchtime. We're talking like probably what, between 12 to 3 p.m. at this point?
Right.
Right. So not even done with half of his day, and he's already created results, may have already signed people up. He's already helped his team out. He's connected with his team, right? He's already helped his members out, which, by the way, I can totally vouch for that. I've been at events, and I've had people come up to me, and they're like, hey, how's it going? And I get in conversation with them. And like, who's your sponsor? Because that's something I like to know. Like, you know, especially if somebody has a lot of energy, or they're like, man, I'm just excited to be here. I'm like, well, who's your sponsor? Like, what team is doing this to you? Or like, where are you getting this? And I've actually heard, well, Kevin Seuss is my sponsor. He helped me set up all this really cool stuff. And I'm like, that guy's great because I know him, which is, you know, where we're at right now. We're sitting here on this thing and listen to just his daily outline. I mean, these things put into practice not only might help your mindset or help your positive outlook or what you do, or hell, even if it's just creating a video every day, at the end of this week, if you do this for 7 days, you'll have 7 videos. And if you don't get results from those videos, posting them anywhere, then the world, there's like the apocalypse, because it's just you'll get a view on those videos. It doesn't matter how or what you do with them. If you put them on Facebook or do something with them, you will see results, and they could be from 0 to like 100 million. But either way, results fall in that category. But just following this daily outline, he's not even done with half of his day, and you're talking about money-making opportunities. You're talking about building your mindset. You're talking about making real connection, high-tech, high-touch, right? Getting really in tune with somebody, because as a sponsor, not everybody feels this way, but you do a responsibility. You're bringing people into the business, and you know what? Connecting with them is what's going to create an actual relationship, right? If you just leave somebody out to dry and you're like, hey, join this thing, you never talk to them again, yeah, there's a lot of training that's going to help them. Yeah, they can succeed. Yeah, they can crush it. Yeah, they can do it. But guess what? Like, where does the lineage stop? Because they're going to be their team leader if you're not the team leader, or you guys aren't working together. You know what I mean? So establish that connection, because that's what's going to build a relationship, and it's going to build retention and help with trust. And you're going to learn from the people that you communicate with, like Kevin's talking about. It's important to be connecting with these people. So I just wanted to bring awareness to that, because it sounds like he's at about 2-ish p.m. in his day, and he's already made a video, connected with people, possibly signed people up, listened to audios, had fun, had breakfast, been to the gym, had lunch. He's taking advantage of his day, and he's not killing himself doing it. So please continue, Kevin.
Yeah.